Have you seen the Billy Mays one?
Probably, yeah. Sorry, I had to figure out who Billy Mays was for a second.
Right. There's like 16, 20, 25. Like there's huge number of commercials all on the screen, and they all start at the exact same time and in unison. It's like, "Hi, Billy Mays here," and then just blah, 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 blah.
Hi, Billy Mays here from the
Well, that was his calling card. That's what he did.
Right.
You know, that was why they paid him.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like pretty much the moment he was gone, like people knew him as the infomercial, but wait, there's more guy, and like you can still say that, and people will recognize that, but unless you grew up with Billy Mays, you have no idea who that is.
I'm surprised the slap chop guy didn't take his place immediately when there was a infomercial vacuum, power
right?
vacuum. I think that, especially from the song that was made by the slap chop commercial. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I will
Okay.
send it to you post haste after the podcast.
Right.
Speaking of the podcast,
Yeah.
it's your turn.
Oh, is it? That's weird. All right. Well, I guess.
Yeah, you do the we do this every single time. You do the voice at the end, and so therefore you do the intro at the beginning.
I just forgot that was a rule because I didn't realize that was ever a rule. Anyway, as you know,
Every single time I make it a rule.
right? I just don't agree to it, so I always have a hard time remembering it.
That's true. Okay, fair enough.
Well, this is a Measure of an Episode, where it is our continuing mission to explore what makes Star Trek proper Star Trek and not just good or bad TV. I'm Jonathan. Taking it old school.
Glad you're giving it all this time. Glad you're not phoning it in. And I'm Paul. And the criteria by which we judge these episodes, number one, is there science fiction in the plot line? Number two, is it inherent to the plot line? That's what we say. Number two, is it unique or novel in some way? Number three, is there a moral or ethical dilemma which comes across in the plot?
Yep.
It seemed like there should be something else after I stopped talking, but there was nothing else.
Right. You ended with a comma and you were like, oh, okay, brain. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah. And it didn't go well. But I've been Paul.
And I've been Jonathan. And this has been the Measure of an Episode.
But you already knew that. Damn it.
I mean, if you're going to say you've been, might as well wrap up the episode right now.
That's true.
And this
I
week,
deserved that.
we watched Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 7, A Few Badgeys More, which we did talk about last time.
We did. And you were, I feel like you've been trolling me all this time because you were totally right. Because the last episode, you were like, wouldn't it be funny if this whole Badgie thing was totally separate from the mystery ship and had nothing to do with it at all, and it was completely resolved by the end of the episode? And I was like, that's stupid, Jonathan. You're an idiot.
Well, I'm having said that, like I had no idea, but I'm also kind of disappointed in this episode. I did like how they wrapped everything up, but I'm also disappointed that they wrapped everything up like in a single episode, And
it did feel like it was going to. It felt like they were going to cliffhang this until the end of the season,
right? Or just spread them out a little bit more. That Agamus and Peanut Hamper were apparently she's Peanut Hamper. I thought she was Peanut Butter Hamper, but maybe that's her
I like
middle
Peanut
name.
Butter Hamper,
right?
I like that better. Yeah.
But anyway, like they just kind of wrapped up all three of these plot lines at once, and it was a nice episode, but I was shocked that they put them all together. It was kind of like it was almost Lost like, where the threads that people are like, we want to know what's going on with that. They're like, no, you don't. And they're like, all right, fine. Here's everybody dies. There we go. That's the plot line.
Right. Are you happy?
Right.
Are you happy now? Yeah. So, but you were totally right.
Right? Yeah. Yay me.
They wrapped everything up. I mean, not all three of them. I guess the third plot line that we're talking about is the mystery ship, which we did get a drop.
Yeah.
Did they drop? Not a drop, a bombshell.
Yeah, they dropped
I guess you drop bombs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And beets. Unless you're Dwight.
So that the mystery ship is in fact not destroying things, but stealing the ships, which I don't understand because it's kind of a bait and switch. I actually don't like this. This is sort of like when you watch a mystery and
somebody very clearly dies.
Yes, very clearly dies, and they lead you along, and then nope, he didn't die. No, and it's like Yeah, I understand, but this doesn't make it. This isn't this. This is bad writing because you just kind of rewrote the movie halfway through because you needed that person to be alive.
Right.
Same thing here. Because why would they show all of the different? Unless there's something to them showing all of the different debris from the ships that they're destroying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that was the indication. Like, this is the clues these are the clues that are being left behind. But it is something called also kind of that we talked about. I don't remember if you left it in the podcast or not, but when they're being vaporized with the power of the blast that's going through, like we shouldn't see their bodies at all. Like the bodies should not be lingering as the white light is going through them.
Well, yeah, and it was unclear what the white light was, and I thought it was just a very powerful weapon. And the
Right.
problem is we see them kind of dematerialize the bodies, at least some of them, and then we see debris from the ship. So why wouldn't we think that it was being destroyed? It's just kind of a lazy bait and switch. That's what I didn't like about it. I like that there's now a little bit more mystery, that they weren't just destroying the ships, that there's something else going on. I'm disappointed, but also not disappointed that it turned out to not be Peanut Hamper and Wei Yun.
Yeah.
Did Wei Yun die in Deep Space Nine?
Well, all right. How do you want me to answer that? Yes, multiple times because he was a clone.
Oh, I see. Did we know that the whole time?
No,
Was
there
he
was
a clone in that it was literally the same person? Like he remembered everything the previous guy knew, and etc., or just a different person who looked exactly like Wei Yun?
No, it was Wei Yun every time. It's just that he was cloned before he was dead. So they always had one on standby. So he didn't know everything that the previous Wei Yun knew once he had been activated.
Got it. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why I asked that. Oh, I was thinking like, could it be Wei Yun somehow? No,
I mean, I guess theoretically they've brought back the Dominion War in Picard.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though, is that the person who plays Wei Yun, whose name I used to know, he's really hamming it up. I don't know if this particular character on Lower Decks has always been this way, but it felt like he was almost channeling Adam West.
Oh, okay.
It kind of felt like we were approaching that in a way, like he was having a little too much fun with it.
Right.
A little too much paprika, as they say.
I think as you say. Yeah, like took it up too many notches. I see.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, did you ever notice that? Yeah.
Yeah, I did, but I was also attributing it to him being kind of an original series death computer, where all of their voices were very stilted and exaggerated. Almost, I'm not your, what's it called? Not your, dang it. Wow.
So this is why people come to the podcast.
I know.
This moment right here.
It's not in your wheelhouse, but almost Dalek. Like,
oh, I see. Is that the word you were looking for?
No, I was thinking of like oeuvre or something like that.
Now Dalek my balls?
Nope, no, not slaps my balls. Yeah,
no, not slaps my balls. Okay. Did this episode slap your balls? Just out of curiosity. Hello.
I wasn't expecting a question. Hang on.
Are you eating?
What? No.
You better not be eating. This is staying in the podcast just to show everybody that you're an asshole.
Well, so to say it slaps my balls means that I don't care. So no, it didn't slap my balls. Okay.
I want to know how long you thought I would wait while you were eating before I said something.
I was hoping if I waited long enough, you would think that there was a bad connection, and then I could just come back and be like, "Hello."
Oh, okay. I see. Noted for all future engagements.
Right. If ever there's any kind of pause, you're like, you're a dick. You're eating right now. I'm like, I call you back. You're like, wow, really elaborate ploy, Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, because if there's one thing that listeners love to listen to,
is somebody eating?
It's something eating on mic. That's people
right.
love. But
this is your as you know ASMR edition.
I can't believe there are people who listen to people eat. Like,
to
I understand.
relax. Yeah. That's the part that, like, I get irritated enough just having to listen to somebody sitting next to me eating with their mouth open, like hearing that smacking. But to intentionally hunt it down to try to like like, yeah, this is totally going to make me relax. Like,
Turn it up.
right. That, and now I'm irritated that we're talking about this because this is good stuff for the podcast. But
Well, yeah, especially like they're like, well, let's find a YouTube video where they're eating peanut butter and banana. Those,
right.
like it's just like seriously.
Yeah.
I
Or
want to
like
know, are there?
the stirring of that as well. Like stirring yogurt or cottage
Yeah,
cheese or stuff like
it's
that. Like,
yeah, that triggers me not as much as when I know, even though it's technically the same sound, like it's the same thing happening, just in a different vessel. I still there's something about like I can't kill the bowl, right? I can't strangle and decapitate the bowl.
I mean, but you can kill the stirrer.
Yeah, it's not their fault though, It's only their fault when they, commence with the eating.
Okay. So whose fault is it whether the food is making the sound? Just the sound?
I'm
Or the
just not
food?
triggered enough. I'm just not angry. You know the anger that you feel, the irrational, sudden, just flood of anger that
Yes.
you have when you hear it. Like I don't get
You want
that
to
when
smack the food out of their hands and say,
oh
stop
God,
eating.
I just
Yeah.
like inflict as much pain as possible
Mm-hmm.
and future suffering. Like, but I don't get that when it's just a bowl of stuff for some reason. I don't know. Like it's not as bad. Maybe when I get older, it will be.
Right. But anyway, to say it slaps my balls means that I didn't care, and I did care. Like, I actually enjoyed this episode. So, no, it didn't slap my balls.
Yeah, this one fondled my balls, I think.
I think that you want to make slaps my balls a good thing. And
No, I just want to continue with the ball theme. So your assignment is to go find out in French what it means to say fondles my balls.
okay.
Or not what it means, but
Right.
the translation.
How you say it, right. Or I could find out what language fondles my balls. I mean, I guess English, but is a good thing.
Well, it's not really a saying that we say,
That's true. That's true. Something with, I don't know, genital caressing. Is that what we're going for? If we, if the phrase is "it squeezes my tits," is that good enough?
No, because fondling your balls doesn't have to be sexual.
I don't know. I would not say the doctor fondled my balls when he asked me to turn my head and cough. Like,
What would you say?
I just grabbed, like held. I would say held.
Held? I don't know. That's like fondle adjacent. All they need is like a little, those like relaxation metal balls that you like.
But
you
yeah,
you
like
twist and you're like,
exactly. Like there's a little bit more of stimulation to fondling, and I don't think that I can't think of a way where I would say I fondled that thing and have people not think of it in an amorous way. Like I don't say I fondle my sandwich trying to find like where the best bite is.
why would you do that? It's a sandwich. It's going to be uniform.
That's the idea, but you don't eat around the edge before you go for the middle?
No.
Oh.
Who does that?
So many people. So many people. Because
So many people?
yes, because not everything reaches the edges, but everything is damn sure in the middle. So you just kind of enjoy the sandwich. You tolerate the sandwich around the edges, the burger, whatever it is, the sandwich by definition. And then you go for the middle where every bite is going to have every bit and you get to enjoy it to the last bite.
Oh, so you're sort of saving the best for last in your sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. By the way, is a burger a sandwich?
Yes.
Okay.
Technically, so are wings.
Wings?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're breaded.
Yep. Meat surrounded by a breaded product. Yep.
Ah, okay. So is pizza a sandwich?
What are the options? No.
Yes and no.
No, pizza is a it's a salad.
Not many salads have bread in them, though. I guess they have croutons.
Yeah, almost every
You're saying
salad
that-
has bread in them.
I mean, I guess so. But so are we saying anything that has wheat? That means every salad is pizza. Oh.
Well, yes, but the three categories are pizza, salad, and soup.
Of food?
Yeah, you can take all food and categorize it into those three things.
All right, well, we need to get into this later. This is taking way too much time.
Did I say pizza,
Because-
sandwich, salad, and soup? Those are the three things.
Okay, well, I guess that makes a little bit more sense.
Sorry.
But I was going to say, when you fold the pizza,
Mm-hmm.
does it then become a sandwich?
Well, see, my question is, does a salad wrap become a sandwich if you wrap it? Well, you
Well,
don't wrap
yes.
a salad wrap. If you wrap a salad, does that make it a sandwich?
Well, I guess you could do that to anything and
Right.
make it a sandwich then?
Yeah. Is this soup a sandwich? Well, yeah, if you wrap it.
Yeah, if you wrap it in something. And
A bread
like,
bowl?
if you dip some bread into soup, is it now a sandwich?
Right. Well, it's got to be surrounded by bread product.
Well, the soup gets into the little holes of the bread. So, therefore, surrounded by the bread.
Dude, this episode is going to be 10 minutes long if we cut out all the tangents.
I just want to know, like, at a certain point, it's a slippery slope the second you start categorizing food this way.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it makes for very heated debates. Like, there's somebody who calls mac and cheese a soup because she eats it very liquidy. But just because you eat it liquidy doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be made.
Right. There's going to be maniacs in the world. That doesn't mean we have to listen to them.
Exactly.
First of all, who eats soupy mac and cheese? I can't think of anything that sounds. The only thing I can think of that sounds worse is listening to them eat it.
I know. Yeah.
Do they drink the remainder after they're done with all the pasta?
Oh, so gross. So gross. It's like when you have like queso with your chips. When you're all done with chips, you're like, all right, well.
Although technically the same thing as eating cereal. You know, when you're done with your cereal, you drink the milk up, right?
Yeah, but that's milk. Like it wasn't once.
It's all dairy.
I guess that's true, but it was once. It never was a hard substance. It becomes one, but that's when you stop drinking it.
Not unlike this podcast.
Perfect analogy and segue back.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it. So that's pretty much how Wei Yun is channeling Adam West.
Right. But yeah, did it slap your balls?
No, actually, I was super happy with this episode. I felt like all of the complaining that I did with episodes 4, 5, 6, and 7, no, 4, 5, and 6, that finally they went somewhere. Finally, something kind of happened in the universe as opposed to just happening to the characters.
Right. Well, okay, so technically in the last episode, there was a huge Star Trek canon shift that Ferenginar was becoming part of Starfleet, or the United Federation of Planets.
That's true.
You know, that's a huge.
But what's happening? Usually, like historically, when that happens in a show, in an episode, we never hear about it again, ever again.
Right. Well, that and also like it's for that episode. You know, that's some alien planet that they're bringing into the United Federation of Planets, and then there's some kind of conflict, and it gets resolved. They sign it, and they move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Never hear it. I mean, there's never any problem.
Right. Which is kind of what I really appreciate about what Lower Decks is doing. They keep taking these one-off aliens and showing them again, like the Binarians.
Yeah, which I had to look up because I wasn't sure if it was a next-gen thing or if it was a Voyager thing. Because I remember there being characters like them in Voyager, but yeah, Binar's next-gen.
And they've done that so many times. They've either as just a background character or as a supporting race in the episode. But yeah, it was just nice to actually have these callbacks in this series.
And it's funny, I kind of had this realization watching it when they were talking about going to warp 9.99, and so he could traverse the universe at all given points in space and time. I felt like that's what this show is good at, is taking gigantic subjects like that and gigantic problems like that and turning them into something that just happens, kind of like the flower and the Tuvix episode, where I think it was most of the episode they were trying to figure out what was going on with that. And also in the Voyager episode where they go to warp 10, it was the whole episode. And the whole episode was about that thing and whether or not they could do it and how they could do it and the consequences of doing it. Whereas in this one, it just happens. They just do it.
Right. That's what they're going to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes 1 second. That's what they do a lot of in this show.
That's true. Yeah. Good call. Good observation.
Are you just saying that so I'll keep talking and you can take another bite of your food?
Don't make this a thing, man. It was just, I was hungry. The routine, the pattern has been that you have a tendency to give a lot of detail about the episode, and I will chime in the first half of our episodes. And so I thought I had a minute. My bad.
Well, regret is a sour thing to have in your...
The classic phrase, that classic adage.
In your sandwich.
Regret is a sour thing in your sandwich, my friend.
That sounds like another translation from French that we've appropriated. But anyway, I did like this episode. I felt like so much was going on. And there were like 2 plot lines happening at the same time.
And 2 solid plot lines, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And one even kind of got resolved in the middle of the crisis of the other one with Badgie. Badgie?
Yeah.
Badgey.
Yeah, Badgie.
And that was good. Like, I like it when that happens. I like it when there's a lot of momentum. I guess that's what I like. I like momentum in episodes and in the universe. So I think that when that's lacking, I get bored, or I just feel like there's something missing.
Well, yeah, this episode had momentum because kind of everything was leading to the next thing. You know, it wasn't this happened and then this happened and then this happened, which is kind of what happened with the Tendi episode. You know, like it was there was another episode even going further back that I'm trying to remember. Oh, the Shattered episode. It was one of our first episodes ever recorded, where they were just kind of going to the same thing, and then they were like, you know, thank you for saving me, but your princess is in another castle, and then they had to go and do the next thing. And like the Tendi episode was very much like that, but this episode, you kind of had to describe the plot by working backwards. You know, they got to the end because this happened, and that happened because this happened.
Yeah, that's like a Pixar thing. Like they say, this happened because of, therefore, like this happened, therefore this happened.
Right.
Is the adage that they try and stick to in their sandwich.
Try to keep it sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so I enjoyed this episode. I felt like, see, this is the thing, is that there's lots of character stuff in this episode. It's not as though they have to sacrifice the character development for a fast-moving plot. They had plenty of character stuff. They even kind of forward moved the plot line of like the love story between Tendi and Rutherford.
Yeah, her little comment. Right, that was a great little thing too. With Mariner just be like, well, you know, I'm the one who reminded you of that, but you know, yay.
Yeah. That's the thing about Mariner. So this is maybe my complaint about Mariner, is that she's kind of like Kramer from Seinfeld, where if Kramer was in every scene,
when he's the main character of the episode, it's a little much. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you just get little hits of it, kind of like paprika. You know, she's the paprika of the characters because she's her kind of just. You know, I don't want to describe her character. Everybody knows what she's like.
Right.
It's too much. Like Boimler's perfect because he's a little bit more straight man than Mariner is. So I think I liked it because we got just enough of her.
Yeah.
It was just funny enough. So
just enough of her and just enough Rutherford.
Well, do you think Rutherford is in that same vein of being too much of a character, a caricature?
I think they all are. I think that you're right. I mean, you've already described Mariner by not describing her.
Right.
And yes, Boimler's a straight man, but he's also more of like the very strict rule follower. And you know, it's become an exaggeration. And I feel like Tendi and Rutherford, I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but they feel kind of like the same person, where they're both just super excited about whatever they're discussing, and they want to be everyone's friend.
Yeah.
But I one of the things I did like about this was that Rutherford kind of came up with the solution. I don't know how often this happens in Star Trek. Usually the solution comes up at the last minute, and I like that he came up with it within the first act, you know, and he just decided to give Badgie a hug, saying like, I treated you as a science project instead of my child.
Right.
And that ultimately wound up causing the problem, but it was just nice that they didn't go in Mariner style and just like try to drop kick him.
I mean, that could have been easily the end of the episode where Rutherford realizes that he just needs a hug.
Exactly.
And that's how, you know, which would have been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we would have canceled this podcast.
Although having said that, I think I would have liked if they did that, and it like, because usually a two-parter is where they're still trying to come up with a solution and they haven't yet, or there's a new problem that comes up, but they don't usually come up with a solution at the end, which then creates another problem, and that's where the cliffhanger starts. So
right.
That would have been kind of fun to see, where like, yes, I agree with you that I'm glad they didn't do that, but having said that, it would have been fun if he's like, I just need to love him, and he gives him a hug, and then they have that moment, and Badgie splits into Badgie and Goodgie, which was great. And that's where the episode ends on a cliffhanger. Like, we thought the problem was going to be solved, and it turns out that it just created a bigger problem.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they could have both could have happened easily. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, so it seems like Tendi gets her shirt off every single episode now. Am I just sort of combining all of the ones where she gets her shirt off? But it seems like every single one she manages to get her shirt off.
So there's a Britcom called Coupling, and they're talking about a movie. I forget which one, but one of the characters says, "Oh yeah, this actress is naked in like the entire thing," and somebody else says, "She's naked in one scene," and he goes, "Depends how you watch it."
Right.
And so I kind of feel
So
like
are you saying that I...
Look, I'm not saying I don't know where that came from. That just
Yeah. That is a isolated comment, is what
right.
you're saying.
Yeah. Total non sequitur.
Right. Yeah. But am I wrong? It seems like she's always ends up in her undershirt.
I feel like she is fast becoming a fan favorite, and there are lots of clips of her in a way that Mariner has not been seen since season 1.
So you're saying they're sexualizing her in a way.
Yes, but I think it's more of an intentional Star Trek thing and not completely oblivious. Just because she's animated. Like
Well, we all know that doesn't matter.
But what I mean is, like, the animators are being deliberate with their choices with her.
I feel like you're dancing around something. But are you saying that there's lots of fan porn of Tendi? Is that what you're trying to say?
I have not gone actively searching for that, but on these Star Trek fan pages, they're like, man, Tendi is such a great character. And then they show like all the pictures of her, like in her midriff and with her top off. Yeah. And, like there's an episode where she came out of the sonic shower and she's got a towel wrapped around her, and so there was that moment too.
Right. Yeah. I'm just starting to notice it.
Right.
I thought it was just a thing that they did sometimes, but it's starting to be a regular occurrence.
Right. Sometimes is becoming more often than not.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say about this episode. It was just fun to watch. It was a fun little thing that happened. I'm sure there are tons of references that we missed or that I missed,
Right. I liked how evil Agamis was and wasn't. Like, he had all these deep schemings, and, Boimler was like, man, you took over this planet so fast. I really don't think that Starfleet will be able to fix this in less than an hour.
Yeah, that was great. It did kind of have this sense that Boimler and Mariner, was it Boimler and Mariner that were out there?
Tendi, but yeah.
Oh, right. That they expected all of this, that they were just letting him kind of do his thing so they could get information from him, that they knew all of this was going to happen because they were totally relaxed and not at all worried about what might be coming from him.
Right.
But that didn't happen. But were you expecting that to happen?
No, I mean, there is definitely an episode surrounding Agamis that we haven't seen yet, that I feel like may have given this more context, but it didn't feel so much as like they knew, to me, it didn't feel like they knew he was going to do these things so much as they knew that whatever he was doing wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of, they're not afraid of him.
Right.
What's his name?
Agamis,
right.
Yeah.
I'm excited because that means that I think episodes 8, 9, and 10 are going to be, I hope at least, in the same vein. What?
Perfect place to stop. All right, let's see what we're watching next.
What?
Season 4, episode 8. It's called Caves. The lower deckers go on a classic cave mission.
What is so funny?
Because you're like, I feel like 8, 9, and 10 are going to hit the ground running. And I knew that the blurb for this was like, it's an episode where they're in a cave. You know what's coming.
Well, you don't know that.
I know. Right. Like, because I'm so irritated by these one-liners. Like, because it is one line.
They say nothing.
Right.
They say nothing.
You know what they should do? They should, like, just keep this full-on Star Trek tropes. And, like, and even the blurbs, it should say, but things are not as they seem.
See, I would have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
If every single blurb ended with that.
Right. That would be great. Okay, so proper episode?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
The whole
purpose
point
of
of
our
the
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed it. Remember, we specifically said we were not going to be that podcast. Oh, yeah, they did that in it. I like that episode, or I like that part.
You're right. And we're still not.
Right.
Was there a ethical dilemma? I don't know.
Hey, speaking of which, Agamis and Peanut Hamper, they weren't being honest with each other. Did you notice that? I just realized that.
Right. Tonight on a very special episode of Lower Decks.
Right.
Some friends learn something about each other they didn't know before, which is usually how learning works.
We've all grown.
So yes, there you go. A proper Star Trek episode.
Right.
And we liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, 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 yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are we done now?
I think so.
Okay, we did it. We did the thing.
We did it. All right. So I've been Jonathan.
And I've been Paul.
And this has been The Measure of an Episode.
But you already knew that.
Is that Janeway?